Inspired by the 2016 presidential campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders, Stephen Garza, then a 14-year-old, volunteered on political campaigns in Texas, and he became a leader of the Texas Student Democrats. There's a film, I just watched it last weekend, called Boys State, one of the top documentaries of last year. Garza is profiled with other Texan boys of various backgrounds and races during their week at the American Legion Leadership Experience. Really happy to be with Stephen. Stephen, are you there? Hey, good to meet you. You got to I'm not used to seeing you with a mustache, my friend. So great to see you. I want to tell everybody this film, which I was sort of skeptical of when I first heard of, Boys State, whatever. It is a fantastic movie. I highly recommend people see it. I'm on the opinion page of this, side of things, so I can say that. I'm looking at my colleague Marty, who's not. But Stephen, I love this film, and I just want to ask you and tell the folks that what this was about. And we essentially have thousands of, 1,200 or so young men brought together by American Legion to go through essentially a political convention, rival groups, and elect a president. And you went through that process, and it seemed to me a little bit like Lord of the Flies at some points, a little bit like racism and homophobia and all sorts of gunk was part of that story. And then you rose to incredible prominence. You didn't win. But I would love to kind of hear what you think the tectonics are of that story that our audience should understand and know.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. Boys State is a film about the next generation of Americans tackling the issues of our day. It is about young people working together regardless of political ideology or party to do what's best for their state and government and their country. And that's, I think, the message of the film is that we young people realize, I'm 20 years old now and I was 17 at the time of the film, that those people in Washington right now, the adults, the senators, the Congress people, it doesn't seem like they're going to fix the issues, and that we are going to inherit the problems of Washington. And although many of us at the time couldn't vote, during the time the film was created, we knew that we had to be part of that process of healing this nation, of working together, regardless of labels, and get things done on behalf of the American people, something that we felt that the politicians in Washington were not doing.
Stephen, I got to ask you just a movie question. I know a lot of people haven't seen it yet. Please go see it. How did they film this? Because I never had the sense that any of you were looking at a camera, but I don't know how. Just tell me the insider scoop on how they filmed this thing.
Yeah, so directors Jesse Moss and Amanda McBain, really, really good friends of mine now, are used to working with a crew of one. It's usually Jesse who's out in the field filming with a camera over a period of 2 years. And Boys State was filmed with a crew of 28 people, 7 cameras, and in 6 days. And they knew that if they didn't capture it as it happened, then it was gone forever. So it was just really amazing and seamlessly to watch the camera crews dance around. And for us subjects, it took a little bit of getting used to having a camera following us around. I had a camera on me from 7 a.m. to close to midnight some days. And, we're there to build this government. We're there to run for office and talk to people. And the camera was really secondary. It just really faded into the background, especially since teenagers, have cell phones now and, have a camera that's probably just as good as any film camera now. So it really was just blended into the nature of the program.
Well, thank you for my movie wonk question, because I want to know. But let me ask you another thing. When I saw the characters that they were following around at the beginning of the show, I thought you were, a sweet kid and you were genuine and earnest, but I thought you didn't have a chance once you got a sense of some of the things pulsating that we also saw. Pretty blatant racism, pretty blatant, wrapped around, a lot of other issues, in the era of Donald Trump. And you captured the imagination of people of your, I think you were the nationalist, right? And the chairman of your committee, Renee, who was going to join us today, unfortunately, he is stuck in a lot of the stress right now with weather hitting and the displacement of that in Texas. But, there was an effort to impeach this young man, in part racist. My question to you is, there seemed to be a battle going on in the movie between those who wanted to have values and wanted to make a difference, and then others that were purely Machiavellian. Any issue was expendable, and all you needed to do was really to win. And I'd just love to get a sense, as we sit in Washington, D.C. today, where we saw an assault on the Capitol on January 6th, we have been discussing white supremacy issues today on today's program. We talked about systemic racism. And how do you get values to be the thing this political system is chasing as opposed to hiding? I'd just love to get your sense of that. And do you see it the way I did?
Definitely, and that is the forces. It's the forces of those who want a different path of politics. Politics is a dirty word. Politician's a dirty word. It's almost synonymous with corruption, with deceit, with Machiavellian tactics, and puppet mastering, and all those sorts of things. But me and Renee were both in the racial and political minority at Boys State. Out of the 1,000 kids who went to the Texas Boys State program in 2018. The vast majority of them were white and conservative, and we knew that running. And me and Renee ended up being elected, despite of that, elected to the chairman of the party and myself, the Nationalist Party nominee for governor. And I think it's because that those kids who disagreed with us, who didn't look like us or come from the same background or maybe didn't hold the same views that we did, really did want to end that partisanship and gridlock that has faced Washington. And at the time, in the June of 2018, we didn't think that the country could become more polarized. And, I think every single student there would have been shocked to see what happened on January 6th, and that the fact that this country seemed to be at its breaking point. We don't ever want that to happen. We really want to have a country for us to be able to live in and thrive in, and for us and for our kids and their kids. It's more evident that my generation realizes this at a very young age, that the decisions that are being made in Washington are going to affect me 20, 30 years from now. The Supreme Court justices, federal court justices, all these, legislations and things that are passed are going to affect me 20 years old, when I'm 30, 40, 50 years old. A lot of us realize that, and we wanted to make sure that we are able, as the next generation of leaders, politicians, entrepreneurs, small business owners, teachers, workers, that we're able to constructively and proactively have these discussions that are hard. Politics isn't easy. Compromise isn't easy. Working together isn't easy. But we know that the alternate is, we saw a glimpse of what the alternate was on January 6th, and we're going to make sure that doesn't ever happen again.
We're getting close to the end, which is sad for me because I would love to talk all day. But did you ever sit down with Renee, who I should tell our audience is an African American young man, and then also, I don't remember his name, but the campaign or the chairman of the Federalists on the other side, who was an amputee and had physical handicap. The three of you, and you were very open about your mother having been an undocumented immigrant into America. That each one of you were starting with kind of the card stacked against you in a way. And I'm just interested in whether the three of you, one of them was your political rival, but did you ever talk about what gave you strength from that amidst this sea of other, white, Second Amendment hugging, just very different crowd in Texas, I should say. I mean, I love Texans, but it was just it's odd to see the three of you rise in that.
We never had a discussion of that. I mean, I got to work with Renee a few times throughout the week when I wasn't campaigning, and I only ever interacted with Ben once during the entire week. Ben being the Federalist Party chair, and we're all friends now, and but during the week, I mean, we all had something to prove. We weren't going to let what we look like, what we're can and can't do. I mean, myself. Not the textbook definition of what a politician looks or sounds like. Being in that racial political minority, me, Renee, and Ben all had different reasons to prove to this group that we're they're equals, and that we could do it better than any of them could. And I think that's evident in the fact that Renee and Ben rose to be the chairs of their party, and myself became the gubernatorial nominee. It was to prove, that we were worth just as much as anybody else, and we walked away feeling that way.
So you're a student at UT Austin. I'm just going to ask what I'm sure everybody else does, so it's not original. But are you going to stay on this track? What do you, how are you going to stay in this effort of engagement? What are your aspirations?
Definitely. I'm a student at UT Austin, of course, and I'm studying political science. I hope to continue pursuing politics professionally. I'm looking forward to being on the campaign trail once I graduate all across this country, electing people that I believe in and hopefully serving with them in government one day. So I'm very looking forward to that. All the boys from all the subjects from the film are pursuing public service in one way or another. Renee is focused on the activism. Ben hopes to continue working and end up in a position with either the State Department or the Department of Defense. And Robert right now is at West Point serving, getting ready to become an officer in the Army. So
yeah, Robert was hilarious.
We all love this country, and we all hope to serve it in one way or another.
Robert was hilarious. I'd love to meet him one day. Well, when you come here and you make it to town and you're elected to something, I promise you the Hill will cover you and will be tough but fair.
That's all I ask for. Thank you so much.
Steve, great to see you. Thank you so much.